please join me for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Want to welcome everybody that's here tonight. We've got a full agenda tonight. Do we have any need for translation tonight? Okay, seeing none, we will go on to, I need approval of the agenda.
I motion to approve tonight's agenda.
And I'll second that motion.
Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carries. Next, we will go on to student representative report.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone has been having a great day. Our other student representative, Miles, said that he'll be on his way shortly, but I'll start filling in for what we had to say. I'd like to update the entire school board on Talk or Treat. This will be on October 31st, and if possible, we'd like some school board members there from 11:09 to 12:14, since our first lunch will begin on 11:09 to 11:39, and second lunch will begin shortly on 11:14 to 12:14. I also encourage the school board, if they possibly can, to wear something maybe Halloween style. It could just be a simple costume, but as long as it goes along the lines of being school appropriate. I myself will just be wearing the Malcolm Myers jumpsuit, not the actual mask, unfortunately. But other than that, as a reminder to the school board, I just want this event to be like not necessarily a formal question-answer type of thing, but just to be able to make face and to maybe make face to the entire students to show that you guys are family. But other than that, that's all. And on here, as you can see, we had the flyer created for Talk or Treat. I personally took some time to hang some up last week at the high school, and we also had this advertised on the TV. We will also begin online advertisement this week. Anyone have any questions?
Okay, so 11:09 to 12:14?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
I am planning on being there, but now I'll have to get a new costume.
Okay, thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
I'll be there too, Sebastian.
Now we'll go on to board member discussion. Do we have a legislative report here?
So the only thing I wanted to update you on was the WASDA elections have all wrapped up. So we have a new WASDA vice president, WASDA president-elect, all those positions. One of the races did go into a runoff, so that you can still vote for that in the next couple weeks. But yeah, that's what's going on with WASDA recently.
Okay. The next thing is there to confirm our WASDA conference attendance, which is November 21st to the 23rd. So, and that is in Spokane this year.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. And then a quick reminder that our Scootney site visit will be scheduled for November 4th, next week. Is there any other board member discussion for tonight?
I don't think so.
Okay, with that, we'll go on to the required approvals. Do I have a motion for the required approvals?
I motion to approve the required approvals.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carries. We'll go on to superintendent informational items.
Yeah, thank you, Ken. We have an opportunity tonight to hear about the comprehensive school counseling plan, and so we have a number of our counselors in the audience tonight, and I believe Priscilla Tovar is going to come up and get us going. So we'd like to welcome all of our counselors and staff here tonight.
That microphone might not be on, Priscilla.
Hello.
There you go.
There you go.
All right, my name is Priscilla Tovar, and I'm the counselor at Desert Oasis High School. Behind me here is an amazing team of OSD counselors. We're feeling very blessed and fortunate to be here tonight to share what each of our buildings are doing. I'll start off with a quick overview. Some of the highlights of, we'll start with the comprehensive program that we worked really hard on the last several years. I believe we were here last year for board approval. And again, we're just excited about the transparency provided to our students, our parents, and our stakeholders. This plan has access to timelines, calendars, and an overview of our social emotional services that we provide district-wide. I know the counselors behind me will talk more in detail about our CBHA partnership, but we're also super grateful with our partnership with CBHA. Last year, we were able to have one counselor at the secondary schools, which was really nice. We also had iPads, so one of the barriers for our students is getting access to counseling, right? So having these on-site was amazing. Our counselors at the elementary were super bummed that they didn't have access, so CBHA heard our cries. They provided 2 additional counselors, and now we have 3 CBHA counselors serving students district-wide at every school. I believe they're between half day to full day at each building. Yeah, half day at DOHS. But again, so we're super excited about our partnership with CBHA, and they'll be able to share insight a little bit about what that looks like in each building. Oh, snap. It's too soon. Okay. So our resource library is growing. I want to say about a year ago, Amy reached out to us and asked us to provide her with the wish list, and she came through, and our resource library is housed at the MMS Student Service Office. And again, our resources range from fidgets to books on grief and loss, and I think even a couple counselors got projectors for their class presentations. So we're super, again, blessed to have this library and that we were able to house it at MMS. So finally, I want to talk a little bit about our risk and threat assessment journey. I want to say it was 2019 or 2020 when a handful of us were trained in level 1 and level 2 threat assessments. At that time, Amy was really the lead on these threat assessments, and with the support of admin. And I want to say the last 3 or 4 years, my fact checker Amy's watching online, but I want to say every admin and every counselor is now trained, and community members who we partner with during these threat assessments are also trained. So if Amy was here, I think that she would say confidently that every building now has the resources, the skills, and the expertise to run these threat assessments in-house. So we're excited about that. All right. So we'll start I'll start with DOHS and what we're doing at our building. We're going to start with the WARNS. The WARNS is an assessment. It's called the Washington Assessment of Risk and Needs of Students. It's a survey used to assess potential risk and needs of students. It allows us to identify areas where a student might need extra support or intervention to prevent issues like truancy or school failure, excuse me. Essentially, it gives us an understanding of our students' current situation so that we can tailor support for them. So this is part of our truancy process. The state says that after 5 unexcused absences, that counselors are recommended to do this WARNS assessment, right? And some might see it like a box that's checked for part of the truancy process, but I think I can say that all of us are really intentional when using the WARNS. It could be a 10-minute assessment, but oftentimes it ends up being 30 to 45 minutes because we let the students know, hey guys, this is confidential. It's not a disciplinary thing. We just want to help you, and we want to know why you're not coming to school and want to help you get here, right? And so they're very honest, and oftentimes these WARNS assessments lead to referrals to an optometrist, right? Or behavioral health referrals or a McKinney-Vento referral. So I've had such a great time administering the WARNS this year. Next is Souls for Souls. This is a partnership that we have with the Nazarene Church, and oftentimes we have kids walk in our door who need shoes, right? Whether it's for financial reasons or whether it's sometimes tragedies happen, and I know last year a student lost his home and all his belongings to a fire. So it was just a quick email to, my contact is Kathy Anderson, And it's pretty cool because you meet with the kid and you kind of do your online shopping. We send the Amazon link to Kathy and the shoes get here within a week. So again, super blessed to partner with the Nazarene Church with Souls for Souls. Here are a couple pictures of our campus visits that DOHS has done this year. We like to hit a couple in the fall and then a couple in the spring. So our first one was to Perry Tech Institute in Yakima, where our students were exposed to careers in the trade. The kids had a great time. They were able to visit the 14 programs that range from 6 months to 2 years. So again, that's like attainable for our kids. They had a great time at Perry Tech. A couple weeks later, we went to Eastern Washington University. It was a beautiful day in Spokane where students were able to tour the campus. They received a admissions. Someone presented on admissions and the camp program. They got to sit in a classroom, not a lecture, but they got to sit in a classroom. We walked through a science building where labs were being done by students, so they got to see students performing labs, which was pretty cool. And our secretary is amazing, and she goes above and beyond. Nothing screams like high school student at a campus visit with like more than a sack lunch, right? So she gets us these prepaid meal cards where our students are able to have the whole dining hall experience and eat on campus just like every other college student. So it was pretty fun. Next, again, I talked about how Amy really listened to our wish list. Something that the counselors have been talking about over the last couple of years was getting a behavioral risk assessment, a screener, that we could use district-wide. And last year we researched 2 or 3 different ones, and we voted and decided on the behavioral and emotional screening system called the BESS. We purchased a program called Review 360, where we're able to digitally screen every 3rd to 12th grader in our district, and then teachers are able to do the teacher survey for K through 2nd grade. So the screener is designed to assess behavioral and emotional strengths and weaknesses in our students. It's a tool that we're going to use to determine students' risk level for developing emotional and behavioral problems that require intervention. So after we screen, this Review 360 will give us a group level report. So based on like homeroom or advisory, every building is doing it differently, but we can use that data to then inform our tiered interventions. So we're excited about that. But well, that's enough with DHS. I think.
Quick question.
Oh,
Quick
yeah.
question for you. So for those digital screeners, each student takes one?
Each
And that's like an
student will
online test that they do?
Correct.
Okay,
This is our kind of like our pilot year. So every school is meeting with every counselor is meeting with their admin to decide if they want to roll it out school-wide this year, or if they want to do a grade band. But yes, eventually that our goal is to do every student gets a screener. Yep. All right.
I have one follow-up. Where did you graduate from? What college?
University of Washington.
University of Washington.
Yeah.
You spoke with a lot of passion about the Warrens assessment. Do you know where that was developed?
Oh, God. Yeah.
WSU. The Warrens is being used across the nation now and is developed here just in Eastern Washington. So
Thank you, Pete.
you bet, you bet.
It was good you got that dig in. Thank you for helping
Yeah,
us.
you're welcome.
I appreciate it.
Okay, my name's Elizabeth Mendoza. I'm one of the counselors at the Othello High School, and I have 2 of my colleagues here with me. Jennifer Simmons is to my left, and Eileen Garcia Gonzalez is to my right. And I wanted to talk to you guys really quick about the Husky Pack, which OHS implemented this year, as you guys know, for our 9th graders. And so I just wanted to share with you guys some highlights of the Husky Pack. And so for starters, the Husky Pack, they say that students like being in the same area. The Husky Pack is located in the 700 building, so that's nice that we have them all in one area when we need to look for students or the teachers that are teaching during the day during the Husky Pack. Also, what was reported that the Husky Pack made the transition from MMS easier for them. Also, students like to have friends in their class. So either the 9th grade students are in the AM or the PM pack, And so if they got lucky, then they might have some friends in their class. And then also, this is something nice that in September, the attendance rate went up to 90.68% for the month of September, which was a good deal for our Husky Pack students. And then also, Mr. Swartz said that lunch intervention has started for our students who either have an F in any of their core classes or in any of their electives. And so lunch intervention occurs obviously during lunch, and it's Tuesday through Thursday. Monday, lunch intervention will be for students who are behind in ELA. Wednesday is for math, and then Thursday is for physical science. And so the students just literally go to the corridor, grab their lunch, and then they head to a portable where the lunch intervention is being housed. So that's awesome for our students that are behind.
Okay, and then I'm going, oh, is it a little, oh, sorry. Okay, I'm Mylene, and I'm gonna share about one of our big events that we recently had. This was on October 7th. We had our FSA ID night, which is our federal student aid ID, which is something that they need to be able to apply for FAFSA. And now with the change in FAFSA, you have to do this ahead of time because it takes 2 to 3 business days to process. So we hosted that night on October 7th, when we originally thought FAFSA was going to open, but they recently changed that to December 1st. And on that FAFSA night that we hosted, we had 52 students come and apply for their FSA ID. 9 of those 52 students are first generation. 27 of those students are first gen and low income. And 0 of them are low income only. And neither are low income or first gen, 5 of those students are neither low income or first generation. And then we got no information on 11 out of those 52 students. And so what's next after this is our FAFSA WASFA night, which is where we're gonna go over with all the students and their parents. They're both invited so we can do applications with them, support them, and we have sent information to Talia de Leon so she can, or Limas, so she can share that information with our families about what they need to have for the application, when that's gonna happen. And then additional to that too, we have Big Ben, Big Ben Community College, who comes and helps us with like 3 or 4 of their different student aid helpers. So that's a huge help, and that's gonna happen December 9th from 5 to 7 p.m. at the high school.
The other thing, real briefly, is we do things for our parents, and people forget that. We had a running start night, we had a CB Tech night, a senior parent night, so the parents can all get information about Jostens and everything else. We also do send home senior letters every year so that the parents can know where their student is at towards graduation. And then Jostens, of course, comes, and this year we have a new Jostens representative who has some new ideas of how to promote, I don't know what you want to call it, their bling and their, what they can help us with as far as getting student names and some electronic stuff that we haven't had in the past. So it's been really awesome. Thank you.
McFarland.
Hi, good evening. I'm Meredith Schaefer. I'm one of the counselors at McFarland.
And I'm Kimberly Sorello, also a counselor at McFarland.
And then tonight, so we're here for McFarland. Jocelyn Gonzalez is our other counselor. She was unable to be here tonight. Okay, I can't see very well, but to start off, we're going to talk about some things that we're doing at McFarland this year. So in the past, we have kids who are having conflicts and are getting in trouble or getting into fights, and they just don't have the skills that they need. And although we're teaching Character Strong, we thought that it would be beneficial to create a program for kids who still they get disciplined, basically. They have some kind of issue with a conflict, how they handle it. And so we now have these monthly classes. We have conflict management and then harm reduction, which is a nice way of saying like anti-drug and vaping. So we've already done it once for September, and now we're gonna start this week, actually tomorrow. I'm gonna offer a conflict management class. And so we pull the data from referrals and classroom or teacher referrals, and then we track, we make sure they attend one of the meetings that's taught by one of us. And then we walk through like a plan for them for the future to make different changes in their behavior so they don't reoffend or don't handle conflicts in the same way that get them into trouble. And so we're doing that once a month, and then the harm reduction is for anyone who maybe has received a referral for vaping or smoking or alcohol or any kind of substance use, or if we know of somebody, we can invite them, or if a teacher has a referral for that, or wants to make a referral, not like a discipline referral, but for a counseling referral. And so then we go through a lesson to talk about, well, tomorrow I'm doing anti-vaping, so, or not tomorrow, Thursday, so that should be good. And then if we don't catch kids this time, we will have them in the next month if they, aren't attending, if they're not available for the day of the class. Also, we go through the list and make sure that they can be together. We don't want to have, this isn't the place where all the people with problems get together and we do a lesson together. That would be, although exciting, not what we're looking for. So those are our programs that's a new thing that we started this year. Another thing that we're covering on this slide is we've been tracking our data. We were really interested in seeing what we're seeing students for, just keeping track of that, and making sure that we are meeting with males and females evenly and grade levels evenly, and to also track our time. We spend a ton of time doing direct services, which as part of our plan, our comprehensive plan, is very necessary, but we wanted to just really isolate what are the issues. And so far, we were able to track that we have had 463 conversations, mostly around conflicts with other students. And then we had, scheduling was next, of course, the start of the year, so we had some of that. In that category, we're still trying to figure out how we track all of this, and so that included like whether we had to make changes, or they were starting a change or requesting a change. Then we had, I think the next one, family. And so that's been really interesting, actually, at the middle school this year. We're seeing a lot of kids for family issues. And so even though that time, the number of conversations is coming up with like conflicts with students, the actual time, and we didn't pull this out, but the time spent talking about families and, family of origin issues, we're spending most of our time on that. So it's been really interesting to see. So you can kind of see the breakdown of some of our categories. We're still fine-tuning that data tool. Briefly, I do want to touch on, we are working with Dea, our mental health therapist from CBHA. She's with us on Tuesdays. And so she's been seeing her students that she had in the past. And then also, as we've had some students who went up to the high school, we've gotten new referrals made. And so we have her seeing new students already and are keeping her busy for a full day. That's what I have for my part.
Something that we're super excited for again this year is our career day. Last year was our first year doing it, and this year we're doing it again on January 30th. So I hope that it's an invitation for all of you as well. Our students loved it, and we got really good feedback from it last year. And so I'm super excited to start planning. It's basically just an opportunity for our students to hear from different career paths and jobs, and just expose them to different careers in the world, because some of our students have a really small, vision, and so we're just trying to expand that in our students. So last year we had, I want to say, over 60 career paths, and so
went to 5 presentations.
So our kids were exposed to a lot, and so we're just super excited for that this year again. And then preschool. we have been supporting preschool since last year. Jocelyn, who couldn't be here tonight, is supporting them this year. And something new that she is going over or using is our second step curriculum, which just provides preschoolers with social emotional skills like empathy, friendship, and things like that, just getting them prepped for kindergarten. So yeah.
Quick question for you. These these monthly courses, so once they're referred, it's mandatory that they attend? Is that,
It's highly encouraged.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, we haven't had any pushback yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
and who can make referrals? It's teachers and admin that,
Teachers, admin, we can.
okay. Okay.
Kids can self-refer, like when they talk to us, if, we offer this to them. We had, and we've sent it out in our newsletter. It's actually coming out when Carlos sends it, but I imagine we'll have parents request it too.
Thank you.
Do you have any referrals? No, okay. Thank you.
I think what you might see an administrator do in conversation with the family, use it as a requirement of re-engagement or returning to an experience or campus. So we want you to have this, but you need to go through these steps.
That's me. Amherst was not able to come today, but these are some of the amazing things that she's doing in her building. She sent over some notes, so I'm just going to highlight a couple things. The Amazing Shake is a program that is designed to cultivate essential life skills in students, such as communication, leadership, and professional conduct. At her school at Little Kaga, the Dean of Students in Amherst are teaching 6th grade students and preparing them for the gauntlet. This has been a big part of their focus this year as it is approaching soon. We meet with 6th graders classrooms once or twice a week. They also implemented a house system, a school-wide point system where students are divided into teams called houses. I believe Wahidas does this as well, because Justine talks about it all the time. The students within each house work together to earn points, support each other, and compete against other houses. The system helps build community, increase mentoring opportunities, and create a family-like culture. Our kindergartners will get their houses revealed soon on November 26th. So, yay, Little Kaga. Who's next? Shoot me.
All right, my name is Jill Powell, and I'm the school counselor at Scootney. We have a lot going on, a lot of color. I like taking pictures to highlight some of the things that we're doing in our building. But first, I really want to talk about the partnership with CBHA. As you guys heard from Priscilla, it's been a really positive experience for me this year. Larissa Garza is in our building every Friday, and right now her current caseload is about 20 students. These students are students that I've served over the last several years in Tier 3 interventions. And, with 575 students in the building, it's really hard to be consistent. So having her there every Friday just adds some consistency to that mental health support that a lot of our kids need. So it's been a really positive experience, like I said, and I probably have, after conferences, 4 more additional referrals that I get to give her this Friday. Some other things, so a lot of prevention and intervention at the elementary schools, as you can see. Currently, I have an art therapy intern, and she's able to provide some art-related counseling techniques to my students. So it's been really fun to learn from her while she learns from me. She's doing some really cool things with kids, co-facilitating some small groups and working with students individually, which has been pretty cool. Right now, in my program, we have 5 running small groups. We're developing social skills in kids, talking about happiness, what brings them joy, working with kinder kids on safe body and boundaries. So it's been good. Honestly, having that CBHA counselor has freed me to be able to provide services like this to our kids that really need them. And then we have our 6th grade leadership club. Our 6th grade leadership provides pro-social activities for our 6th graders. Currently, I'm working with 2 of our 4 6th grade teachers in running this club, and we have 31 students that are leaders in our building. And because there are so many, they all applied, but we couldn't say no to any of those applications because they are developing leaders. And we really want to highlight those skills that they're building in themselves. And so we have divided them up into 5 different teams. I've got kids that are teaching lessons to the younger classes, reading to the TK and kinder students, writing birthday cards for students school-wide. I have an assembly committee, and we have bulletin board developers. So they are busy, and it's just really cool to see what they've done this year. They'll be back in a couple weeks to talk to you about the things they're doing. The last thing that Amherst had touched on is the Amazing Shake. The Amazing Shake is providing soft skills to our 5th and 6th graders. These kids are learning how to have quality conversations with adults, and it's pretty awesome. They are practicing public speaking in the building. We have already had some volunteers come in where they've gotten that practice and had to have 1-minute conversations with adults. And throughout this process, these kids, I would say, are they're learning how to build confidence in themselves. They're building confidence, that verbal poise, working on those verbal crutches that I'm probably using right now, and just that communication piece. And so it's been a really positive thing to see in our building and to see district-wide. So anyways, yeah, lots going on. And just like everyone else, this is such a small piece to the reality of our world. So thank you.
Jen wasn't able to make it today, but these are some of the things that is happening at the Wajitas building. She also is reporting that Jasmine, which is their CBHA counselor, they have a caseload of 15 students, and that's probably growing since conferences, last week. So she and the Dean of Students are also doing class presentations, Intro to the Wajitas Way. They're going into classroom to introduce themselves and school expectations and dress codes. So, and then again, small groups, she says, will be established starting in November. So, thank you. I'm sure you guys could add to that, but.
Hello, I'm Blanca Garza, and I am at Hiawatha. So same, I think a big highlight this year has been our CBHA counseling partnership. Again, like Jill had mentioned, it's really lightened the load and just offered that support, consistent support, and also supporting our families who struggle to get them to appointments and pull them from school while they're at work. And so right now we do share Jasmine Martinez, who's also at Wajitas. She's with us on Wednesdays. And right now, same, it's growing. We're at about 18, I think the last that I checked our spreadsheet. So, and then 6th grade leadership club. This is our 3rd year with this club that's been up and running now. Same, just developing those leadership skills and helping them grow to prepare for them for those opportunities as they enter McFarland. They get to lead some of the assemblies where they're sharing the character trait for the month. We've done school news videos. They're providing support to just the younger grades as they're interviewing the problems out on the playground, on the bus, at home, wherever they're having issues and problems. And then in the upcoming weeks, I'll be initiating our Tier 2 and 3 support small groups from emotional regulation using Zones of Regulation curriculum, We Thinkers curriculum, and then also I think I'm excited about a particular group it's a school success group, and they're gonna learn skills. So it's students that have a diagnosis of like ADHD or autism, where they will be able to build their executive functioning skills from organization to being able to create checklists of things they need to complete for their classwork. And then again, this is our first year with the Amazing Shake, so I'm learning a lot from the schools that have gone through that, and our kids are excited and nervous and all the feels, but we know this is beneficial for them, and so we're excited to be a part of that. So,
I had a question.
Yeah.
Over here.
Oh, Miles.
With the CBHA counseling partnership, was that, like I know all of our schools are participating in that, was that a result of troubled students per se, or like how did we get into that in the first place? I haven't heard much about that.
I know that it was just a need. I think we were overwhelmed with just the amount of referrals that we were getting, and then just the inconsistency of linking them to a counselor and then them not having the resources to consistently attend their sessions.
We have Dea at our school a day and a half to help us out with those kids, and we make referrals to.
Yeah, and we're glad that elementaries get to have them for a full day, so once a week.
So I can add a little bit of background around it, Miles. When we started the partnership with CBHA, there are many school districts in Washington that have community health centers like in their buildings. You know, imagine these large school districts with 10 or 15 or 20,000 students. It might have a high school with a medical provider, so kids don't have to leave school or can't make it to an appointment. So when CBHA approached us about the opportunity to provide these services, we had to provide the facility where they could do it and get them a reasonable schedule. So it's taken a couple years to get it going, but it gives you and your classmates access to someone. They don't have to miss class, and it's that consistency of appointments and that kind of thing. And I think the other side of this, it really is a partnership. So what does CBHA get out of this? They get some clients. Our kids get the supports they need. So it's really a win-win, and it sounds like it's really starting to take off.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I believe that's it. If anyone has any other questions, the counselors behind me would love to answer them.
Great presentation. It's very eye-opening for me. I've come along. When I graduated in '91, my counselor was Gene Ord, and it was just like your good old uncle. And he just, if you had a problem, he sent you in a direction. And it's amazing what you guys all go through from kindergarten to keep our kids safe and going in the right direction. So it's been it's a whole different world than what I remember when I was there. So kudos to you guys for everything you guys are doing. The partnership with CBHA, who pays for when CBHA sees it? They bill the state, or does the school?
It depends on the person that they're seeing. So those individual conversations between the family and the provider, they would determine that.
But it's free to the students.
Free to students, yeah.
Yep.
No, it sounds like it's a great partnership, so that's awesome. So it probably helps you guys out quite a bit, and helps them too and stuff. So, and then the Amazing Shake. Since I've been on, it's amazing to hear that. It's great that you teach these kids young, because I know when me being in the agricultural world, you come to my farm for a job interview or a sales pitch, and you don't have a good shake, you're going to lose me right away. So, and most farmers would agree with you. So they can judge a person by the calluses on their hands, and if you don't match the farmer's calluses with a firm handshake, you're not going to get their business. So that's great. You're teaching the kids that confidence, so that when they got a job opportunity or a sales pitch or whatever, especially in this industry or in our community. So that's great. And then, prevention's the best thing. I mean, if we can prevent and get these kids interacted more like you guys are all doing, that'll make a lot better than wait until you have a problem with the student stuff. So, great job.
Oh, we appreciate you guys. Thank you.
And I look forward to whatever you need, career day, whatever, Amazing Shake judges. So, get a hold of me, count me in. I'm in for all that stuff. So.
All right, absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you.
It's really nice to see the amount of students that are in the leadership classes now, especially in 6th grade, because they are our future. I mean, and it's really nice to see how involved they're getting in that. And especially that we got all 4 schools on the Amazing Shake this year. That's really nice.
I do have 2 comments, if I could. Last week, as part of an experience last Monday, I got to visit a private school, where tuition is $35,000 PK through 12th grade. And so families who can afford to pay that kind of tuition. And I sent a couple of principals a picture that I took there of their house banners. And it was the same thing that those families want that our kids deserve. How do you go in and get a business deal? How do you go in and get a job? How do you interact with people and develop a life that brings you happiness because you have friends and can interact with them? So it's really cool that our kids can get it, but it's any kid that wants that experience is having that sort of district-wide opportunity. So really cool work happening there. I wanted to acknowledge the counselors tonight for sharing with you some of the data that they're using to track what they're talking about, right? And the kids that they're helping, and help us identify what do we need next and where do we need to push. And I know that our teaching and learning people do that all the time. It's really cool to see that from the counselors. And then the last thing, and I think we sometimes perpetuate this in schools, which is, I'm not a teacher, I'm a counselor. I'm not a counselor, I'm a teacher. And neither of those are true, because I think what you heard tonight is these people, counselors teach you about yourself. And the most important thing you can know is who you are, right, and what you believe and how you manage with problems. So thank you for being here tonight and for the important work that you do and for supporting our kids when they're coming to school every day. So thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, do you have any more on the superintendent informational items?
Nope, that was our only item for this evening, Ken.
Okay, then we will go on to Wahidas Elementary School report.
I'm going to make them all come up here with me to start, so come on up, guys. All right, well, thank you first and foremost for having us and for coming to visit us last Monday. Like I said, I'm going to make them all stand up here with me for a little bit. We have some information for you, but most of all, hopefully, if you have any questions, you'll go ahead and feel free at the end to ask them. So we're going to jump in. And first of all, before we start, though, I'm going to introduce everybody so they don't have to stop and introduce themselves as we get going. So with my far left here is Justine Bernetti. She's one of our 6th grade math teachers. Next to her is Katrina Montemayor, one of our 2nd grade teachers. Ashley Garza, another 2nd grade teacher. Steph Garza's hanging out in the back, one of our 3rd grade teachers, along with Alexis Cantu, another 3rd grade. Far right here is Sunny Garza, 6th grade math. Seamus McPartland, our assistant principal, and Mark Zuniga, one of our 4th grade teachers. So they each have a little bit that they're going to talk to you about here in a second. But before we jump in too far, I want to give you a little background about kind of how we started the year and the message that we took going into the year. And I'm sure you've all heard of this guy up here. His name is John Wooden. He once said, focus on what you can control, your attitude, your effort, and your preparation. And so we talked a lot about that in August, about how we have to control, obviously what he said, what we can control, because there's a lot of things outside of our control in schools. You know, we can always look for reasons why things won't happen. Well, if this was a certain way, we could do better. Or if this happened, then that would make our lives easier. But we just have to focus on what we can control. So keeping that in mind, the first thing is our attitude. You know, how we approach the work at Wahidas is really, really important. And how we show up to work every day is very important. And you get to choose your attitude every day. I thought it was really interesting when Seamus and I talked to our leadership team a couple weeks ago, and we said, you know, the board's coming. What would you like them to hear about us? Or what do you want to talk about? And the first thing that came up was the word unity. And so at first I was like, well, how do you talk about unity? How do you show unity? But then the more I got to think about it, it really is a belief that we can positively impact student learning. So we all are united around that, and it's a really almost palpable thing in our building that you can sense. And that belief is actually has been defined through science, a lot of studies. Well, let me back up a second. We have that belief and that unity because we've done it before. We've changed the outcomes for kids, or we've changed the trajectory. So we know we can do it again. And but even be more impactful the next time we do it. And one of the things you'll hear us say a lot in our building is, today we'll do it, tomorrow we'll do it better. And we all say that. It's part of who we are. It unites us. And again, going back to I jumped ahead a little bit, but that belief that you can positively impact student learning is actually science-based. John Hattie has defined it as collective teacher efficacy. And it's a very, very powerful thing. If teachers all believe that they can really make a difference and they're collectively going the same direction, like I said, he refers to it as collective teacher efficacy. Some of the things that can come from collective teacher efficacy is educator confidence and teacher commitment. You know, if we believe we're doing the right thing, it's a lot easier to be confident and it's a lot easier to go all in. We're going to commit to this. Another thing is teachers, when you have collective teacher efficacy in your building, they're more willing to persist at goals, take risks together, and stay at it. And last but not least, the elements of collective teacher efficacy is you have to have the capability, the collective purpose, and a collective resilience. And again, to me, those are all things that really talk about obviously collective teacher efficacy, but how we feel about the work we do in our building and what unites us. And then at the bottom there, you see a barometer. We talked to you a little bit last week when you visited our building about John Hattie, and I'm sure you guys have heard from every building about him and the idea of effect size, with 0.4 being 1 year's worth of growth. Well, collective teacher efficacy actually is at the very top of the scale with an effect size of almost 1.6. So if you have a staff that's united like this, student growth is going to be at its highest because the teachers believe in what they're doing and they're working together, not in isolation. So with that said, I'm going to hand it off to Mr. Garza to talk to you about our effort.
All right, so I'll talk next about effort, and it's kind of like what Justin said. There's usually 3 things you can control every single day. That was something that I was told when I was in college, and when Justin had mentioned it, I was like, man, that's awesome that it's not only in the sports world. This is also something we can do as educators, and I think that's huge because at Wajitas, it's something that we choose to do every single day. And we always talk about effort and what it means to show up every single day for school and give your best effort. But we never really talk about the difference between what it means to actually show up and compete in regards to, or comparing that with actually working hard. So we talk a lot there at Wajitas about actually competing every single day. And at Wajitas, we're competitors. There's almost not a day that goes by that we're not competing at something, whether we're walking down the hallway or something's going on. But as teachers, we're constantly competing. And what we feel is that when we compete, that means that we're knowing exactly what we want, what we need from the students, and exactly what we want to teach. When we talk about somebody that's maybe just working, they have no meaning to what they're doing or why they're doing what they're doing or what they're talking about in the classroom. And having administrators that actually know and understand the difference between our scope and sequence, our daily lesson plans, our interims, our assessments, to have administrators that actually know what we need to do as educators has been huge because they hold us accountable to showing up every single day and giving our best effort and also competing every single day because that's really important to us. So we don't just show up to work, we show up and we compete. One of the things that we do that I kind of mentioned there at Wajitas that helps us to compete every single day is actually having the admin support. And we've been talking a lot this year about aggressive monitor, and that was a course or a lesson that I had the opportunity to kind of share with Ashley and Kayla Garza, and Pete Perez was doing that with us this summer. And aggressive monitoring has been something that we've kind of been using over the last 2 years. And this is just kind of a tool to hold teachers accountable, to make sure they understand that we're delivering the lessons that the students need every single day. And that's a big piece for us there at Wajitas. We talked, explained how we took 2 weeks last year and we tracked different kind of effort that we were giving each and every single day. So this is kind of the last thing that I wanted to share there on the bottom right-hand corner is I remember all the teachers got some paperwork from Justin and asked us to just answer these questions. And a lot of us were like, man, what's going on now? What's gotten up his sleeve this time? So we kind of answered all the questions, and then we had a meeting about it, data meeting about it, and Justin pulls out this Excel sheet, which he's really, really good at. And it told us about the level of competition with every single teacher and how we felt every single day. So the green there showed, or what that shows there is 63% of us on a daily basis said that we were actually showing up to work and competing. 27% of us said that we kind of showed up and we were working hard, and 10% of us showed up and said that, man, there are some times where we're not 100%. But for Justin to be able to do something like that, or just to do something like that, kind of shows unity and the trust that we have in him to be able to kind of tell us something like that. And we think it's really important because we're trying to now grow that 63% as a school or as a building. We're trying to build that up so that we have more teachers competing more every single day. Obviously, we have our down days. I mean, it's really tough to be a teacher. It's really hard. We don't have great days every single day, but if we show up, like Justin said, with the right attitude, with the right effort, and the right approach, then every single day there's no excuse why we can't compete. And at Wajitas, that's kind of what we try to do, is just compete every single day.
All right, so at your recent site visit last week, we talked a little bit about the why and the who on this pyramid. So we'd like to continue that conversation tonight by talking a little bit about the what and the how at Wajitas. So what we teach and what we present students with is incredibly important to us. And teachers take a lot of care to make sure that what students are presented with is exactly what they need. So whether that's in core instruction or in walk-tos, we try to make sure that we're addressing exactly what that child's need is. As for how we teach, we use proven instructional strategies, common vocabulary. We even have common chants and gestures and language that we use within the various lessons. So we try to align the language we use K-6 as much as possible. At Wajitas, we talk about students sometimes needing 300 reps. So a student may not get what you're trying to teach them in first grade, but we hope by the end of sixth grade that they are able to achieve core content. Also, lessons are delivered with intensity and urgency to try to maximize learning time. Also at Wajitas, we're very focused on controlling our preparation. Preparation is really big for us, especially in the areas of what we do and how we do it. It's the first step to ensure high levels of instruction for all the students. And so some of the things we do to prepare are lesson planning, vertical collaboration, rehearsals, and what we call hawk walks. And so some of our teachers are going to go into more detail about those various areas of preparation.
All right, so for vertical collaboration, every Monday during our PLC time, all the general ed teachers get together for about 45 minutes, and this has been going on for a few years here at Wajitas, and it's been this year that we've actually incorporated the K through 2 along with us. And so during this time, we've aligned all of our scopes, and so that way we're all on the same comprehension, writing skills, and we just make sure that we have our consistent progression throughout all grade levels.
So like Mark said, we've done this the last 3 years, but this year is actually the first time that we're doing it for math. It's been done in ELA, but yeah, this year is the first time in math. So half of our grade team will go to ELA, and then half will go to the math PLC. And during that time, each team has created their own instructional scope and sequence that best fits their grade level standards. We're looking for ways to connect through each grade. So we're looking for common vocabulary that we can use in our classroom, common strategies that we can use. I know it's been really beneficial for us because we're at the end, we're sixth grade. So it's really cool to see what kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade is doing in their classrooms and how we can bridge that.
And just a couple ways on why it's unique was when we tried to figure out schools that modeled this so that we can go and learn something from them, there wasn't a whole lot of people that we were able to get something from. And so we felt here at Wajitas that we had staff that were going to share their knowledge out and kind of spread it throughout our school. And so, you know, with the kids in mind, we just wanted them to have really consistent lessons and just strategies and, again, terminology throughout the years. And so that's what made it unique.
So ELA is a little bit, I feel like this is really high. ELA is a little bit easier to start with. That's why it's been going on for 3 years, because their standards are very similar. Whereas math, they really build upon each other. So this being the first year, like Justin said, and how we all say in our building, we're going to do it this year, but next year we'll do it better. So it'll look better next year, but this year it's really about listening to each other and what's going on in our classrooms and what is being done in the classrooms and how we can take that into our instruction. I think the next part is what does it do for our team and for our school? So Sunny and I teach 6th grade math, and it has really helped us accelerate our teaching in the classroom. We know what kids have seen before, how they've been taught, what vocabulary they've used from previous teachers, and that really helps us bridge past learning with the current or new learning that they're receiving right now. I know for sure that instead of having to completely reteach something, I mean, we're building upon the learning that they've had. So sometimes it's like, do you remember when you learned this? And they're like, huh? And I'm like, well, I already talked to your other teachers. So I know what words they've used. I know what chants they've used or in their classrooms. And so instead of having to completely reteach something, it's like reminding them. And so that it's really cool to see that the work that they did, even in 2nd grade, coming to 6th grade, they can really use what they learned so long ago in the 6th grade classroom, and it really gives them confidence. It's like, you know how to do this already. We're just going to take it a little bit further. It's going to get a little bit harder, but you've done this before, so it's going to be okay.
Yeah, and so again, another thing is just great for the team. It just keeps everybody on the same page, and so during these PLCs, it's a good time for people to exchange their ideas and then just keep things consistent. For instance, we share a common graphic organizer, and so them being able to see it in 3rd grade, they'll also see it in 4th, 5th, and then continue to see it in 6th. And so during these meetings, it gives a great insights for new teachers and then even people who are just on new teams, just being extremely consistent. And so they're basically setting them up for success.
I also really quickly just want to add that when we started the math, Justin gave us a binder that had all of our standards, all of our stems. It even told us like what this standard, how it relates to years past and how it's going to relate to the teachers that they're going to next year. So he did a lot of work. I'm sure Seamus helped, but he did a lot of work to help prepare us for these meetings. And it's cool that we get to take our binder with us and we know exactly what standard we're teaching. And just hearing being part of the conversation is really cool to I don't have to sit in their classroom to know because they're showing me exactly how they're doing it. And so I can really help kids move along faster because of that previous knowledge. So it's cool to see what our teachers are doing.
I also wanted to jump in again. So just as an example, too, of the vertical collaboration and how useful it was I taught 5th grade last year, and we were trying to bridge some gaps in between 5th grade and 6th grade. And, during one of these math collaborations, we found a certain strategy that they were using in 6th grade, but we were teaching it completely different in 5th grade. And so during this meeting, we actually figured out, like, hey, this is actually the way we teach it in 6th. And so, again, without that vertical collaboration, we'd probably be teaching strategies different in 4th, and then the kids would see it again differently in 5th, and then seeing it again different in 6th. And so, again, that vertical collaboration is going to just help us keep it consistent, throughout their grade levels. So that's been an awesome thing.
Okay, so Katrina and I are going to start by defining what lesson rehearsals look like at Wahitas and why it's unique to us. So rehearsals are done during our planning period a few times a week where we sit together as a team and we take turns teaching part of a standard-based skill. During this time, we watch our teammates teach and as they explain their how and why, and then following that, we have to open discussions about it. So this rehearsal and practice makes our lessons and instruction better before we get in front of the kids. It's unique to us because we get to see our team planning and our lesson plans in action. We get to see them kind of come to life in a way. This takes us beyond our normal lesson planning where we're just writing out what we're going to be doing for the week. So kind of thinking back in the past, before we started rehearsals, we would just kind of write down what we're going to be doing, what page number the kids, what standard we're hitting. But this time, starting rehearsals, we really got to see, we are all interpreting the lesson that we planned very differently. And we can pull a lot of really cool parts of that lesson to just make our lesson delivery a little bit stronger And Katrina's going to explain why it's unique to her.
So, also during rehearsals, we get to witness our team's different approaches to the subject being taught. We give each other instant feedback in the moment, and we get to implement what we learned in our vertical alignment PLC while having discussions about key vocabulary and important aligned language. Ashley is going to talk about what this does for our team.
So for our team, kind of going back to that unity, that word, it unifies us in a way, meaning that we're all teaching that same skill the same way, which supports student learning outcomes not only within core, within our own classroom, but also walk-tos. So we know, and even students know, what to expect in every classroom that they go into. This helps build our teacher confidence and being consistent and intentional in what we're doing. So we know what to expect, and so do the kids.
Like Ashley said, it also unifies our entire school. Using common language throughout grade levels helps students make important connections as they progress through the grade levels. This ties into our vertical alignment and what we take back to our team. Ashley is going to talk about how this has helped her personally in her own classroom.
So this has helped me personally, like we kind of talked about before. It drives our instruction. It allows me to be more intentional about what we teach and why we teach it. So having a clear direction helps me as a teacher make the most of my student interactions, which leads to better learning outcomes.
What I've enjoyed most about these lesson rehearsals is pulling ideas from one another, getting strategies. Maybe we teach it different, but we get to pull together and have that common skill how we teach it. This is especially helpful in both new and existing curriculum. So for example, last week we were rehearsing together as a team how to teach addition with regrouping. As I was up there rehearsing, Ashley paused me and said, well, wait, these are some chants that I use when I teach my students. And so now all second grade teachers, all in our 4 classrooms, use those chants, which are really helpful for all our students because they see it in all classrooms, so it's nice.
Okay, so I'm Alexis, and this is Stephanie. We get to talk about hawk walks. So you're probably thinking, what is a hawk walk? A hawk walk is a way for us teachers to learn from our peers. So when we do a hawk walk, this is actually our 3rd year. So the first year when we did a hawk walk, we would walk as a team, all 4 of the grade levels, and we would go observe other classrooms and kind of just watch what teachers were doing, right? We sit here, we talk about the strategies and the chants and things like that. So it was a way for us to watch it live. The second year we did it, we would go by ourselves. So myself, I would go to another classroom and I would watch a teacher teach. And then I would write down some notes, some outcomes that I liked, or some strategies that I could use into my classroom. This year, we've changed it, which is pretty neat. I like it. We walk with a teammate. So as far as Stephanie, we both teach 3rd grade. We would walk together. In the morning, we would meet with Justin and Seamus, and they would discuss, because they've given us feedback, right? So admin should be coming in and giving your feedback. They're really good about it. And they tell us, like, hey, I want you guys to go to these classrooms. They have a schedule for us. And I want you to watch this. See what it looks like. And so we would go in there together. We would take our notes. And then at the end of the day, we talk about it. They would ask us, they would go on some walks with us, some walks we would go just together. And they would ask us about it, like, hey, what did you learn? What were some strategies? What are some things that you want to change into your classroom? So then we would sit there, discuss together, like, hey, I really like the way you did. We've received from our administrators.
All right, so why is it unique to us? So being able to learn from your peers is a pretty powerful thing. As much as us teachers love PDs, it's a very sit and get kind of style, where this is in the moment right now, I'm seeing it live, and I can immediately take that back to my classroom within that day and apply it. So most of the time you see these strategies that are presented to you at the beginning of the year, and by the time it's time to go, you forgot how to do it, or it's just not as real. So this is really helping us make it a more powerful move in our classroom. As far as a team, it's building consistency, right? So if I'm doing it, 3rd grade is all doing it, we're talking about it, and then I go see it in 4th grade, ooh, I can bring that back to my classroom, and vice versa for the younger grades. So if we are all working together as a school, we're just way more cohesive, our classrooms are way more cohesive, and that unity piece that we've been talking about. And as far as the strength, we're strength in numbers, right? So we are a very competitive school, if you guys don't know that yet. And we want to win. We want to be successful. So how are you going to do that? You're going to work as a team. So by being in each other's classrooms and seeing how good we all are at our jobs, it makes us believe in each other, and we want to be there for each other to strengthen each other, right? So Hawk Walks have been a pretty big thing for us.
And then I just want to share a personal experience on a Hawk Walk. So I taught kindergarten for 7 years, right? So then Justin, hey, do you want to teach 3rd grade? Whoa, big difference, right? Kinder to 3rd. So I'm like, whatever, I got to try it. Let's do it. So I do it, and then they have these whole crazy 3-box strategy going on, reading, never taught it before. And so he says, hey, you want to go on a Hawk Walk? I have a great team, you're on a great team. So I'm like, this is the perfect opportunity. So I go in and I watch Hannah do it, I watch Stephanie, and I watch Larissa. I'm like, holy cow, this works. Where was this when I took the WASO, right? When you had to pass it to graduate, I would have passed a lot sooner. But so it was a pretty cool thing to see live, right? Like, it's easy to sit with these girls and them be like, oh, you want your kids to write this in this box, you want your kids to write in that box. First day, I'm like, hey kids, take out your reading packet. And I looked at it and I'm like, yeah, go ahead, put it away, because I'm not ready. So then I got to go watch Hannah again, and when I came back, it was like, hey, take out your reading packet, I'm ready. So when the kids seen that, they're like, Miss Cantu, where did you go? I went to learn, just like you guys. And so once they see that I'm learning and I'm going to be confident in something, they're going to be confident in it as well. So that's my personal experience. I love them, and I'm still learning till today.
And same goes for me, a little bit on the math side too. 2nd grade has a lot of chants, and it's a big step from 2nd to 3rd grade. We say 3rd grade's a beast. That's where they're learning multiplication, division, fractions for the first time. And so we want them to feel as comfortable as possible when we introduce those things. So learning from 2nd grade team and what they use in their classroom and applying that in our classroom has made the transition so much easier. So it's just been really helpful.
All right, so I know we talked about the who when you guys came to see us last Monday, and hopefully you got a chance here to see how the who, the what, and the how really tie together, right? A lot of the systems we've put in place are for them to learn from each other because they are really, really good at what they do. And I think it was Steph that you were the one that said, you know, PD is great, professional development is great, but when it's really impactful is when it's in the moment and you can go right away back and try it out, right? And so that's how a lot of these things came about, is how can we learn from each other? How can things, good things that are happening in one classroom be spread across the system and not just live in that one classroom? And the fastest way to do that is to team, right? We can't wait till the end of the year to have us training next summer on it. That's too late. So last but not least, the top of the pyramid is the impact. So all these things we've talked to you about today and last Monday, they all lead to the impact for kids. And this is slightly different than the handout that you have, but when looking at the SBA proficiency in ELA and math, digging through all the data and the numbers from the entire state, looking at schools that are similar to us, right? That have demographics like us, with at least 35% multilingual learners and at least 60% low income. So schools that have both of those. And as you guys know, the schools here in Othello are well over that. We have about 50% ML and close to 90% low income. But I had to draw the line somewhere. So drew the line here, and for the 3rd year in a row, Mojitas has been in the top, or is in the top 5% when it comes to SBA performance from these schools. And this year, top 1% in Adams Grant in Franklin County. So what these guys are doing behind me, it really does work. It takes a lot of commitment. It takes a lot of unity, openness to not always be perfect, try it, and we're gonna do it better again next year, but that constant, like, how can we do it better leads to these outcomes for kids. So that's all we have for you. Hopefully you have some questions for us.
Man, I forgot about the wassail. When you said that, I got like PTSD for a second. This attitude you keep talking about of constantly competing and trying to make yourselves better sounds exhausting. It's a lot of work, and I'm happy we have people in our district who are willing to put in that work for our students. So thank you.
Yeah, no, great presentation. I love seeing the stats. Obviously, something's working there, but it starts with you, Justin. So you being a good coach and carrying it down to your players. It's there's a good atmosphere there. I enjoyed the site visit. just the kids and the writing, the sayings on the walls, just all the way down to the little details. And yeah, it's just that competitiveness, like you guys were talking about, that brings out the best in everybody, right? Iron sharpens iron. So when you teachers work together like that, that's if you can help each other out before Justin has to get involved, then it's a win-win right away. So it just makes everything a lot better. And then yeah, winning's contagious, right, Sonny? You know, you start winning, it just carries on. So it's good, great, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm a very competitive person. Justin and I both had to suffer through having daughters playing 7th grade volleyball. And if we lived through that, we can live through anything. But no, I love going to your guys' school. I love when you guys come and present. I almost gave Sonny a standing ovation after his motivational speech. Everything that you guys do is so contagious and so exciting, and it never fails. Every time I feel like I'm going to go back to school and be a teacher, and I want to work at Wahitas. Every time I hear from you guys. You're just doing so many great things. I love everything that you guys are doing. I apologize that I wasn't at the site visit. I was in Phoenix and my flight got changed, so I didn't make it home in time. But I can't say enough good things about your school and all the wonderful impact that you have made across our district with all of the students that you've had come through. I mean, it really is so impressive. So thank you for your presentation. I really appreciate it.
Some of the best judges, I guess, of your school are your kids. And you know I got grandkids there. And I ask them all the time how their day was. And they absolutely come back and say they love it every day. So that tells me what you guys are teaching to the kids when they love to go to school. They love all their teachers and they have so much fun, and they look forward to each day for a new experience. So I really appreciate that.
It's good to hear.
I have a couple questions for the group, and so I'd love to hear from maybe 2 or 3 people on this first question. You talked about common planning and PLCs. You talked about lesson rehearsal in front of your colleagues. I know last year you did looping, hawk walks, and having people watch you and you go watch them. Those aren't easy things to do for teachers. So I'd like to hear from two or three of you, like, what's the hardest thing about being a teacher at that school?
I'm going to be honest. I think the hardest thing is we want to compete every single day, right? I think when we started at Wahitas, we kind of knew what we were getting into, and it's easy to say, like, yeah, I'm going to go 100% every single day, but we all have lives. We all have families. We're all invested in other things, right? So showing up every day and leaving everything outside, because the students in my class deserve all of me right now. Just like my kids deserve all of me when I'm at home, these students deserve all of me when I'm at school. I think that is the hardest part. All of the, the observations, the walkthroughs, I know for some teachers it could be a little nerve-wracking, but I really appreciate the feedback that I get from my administrators, because it makes me better. But I would have to say the hardest thing is showing up every day and, like, telling yourself that you gotta put out 100%. I mean, the data shows not everybody's 100% every single day, but we really do try. And I can truly say that about my colleagues, is I know that they're trying. They're 100% every single day, and it's a lot to give. So that's my thought.
But it's that thing of having that open mind to always learn. I mean, I got to I always try to learn something new every day, even though I've been doing the same thing my whole life. But there's always something to be learned, but not every teacher's open or every person's open to that. You got to deal with egos and attitude sometimes. So it's great everybody's buying into it and willing to take that honest criticism we're all human, so we're gonna have bad days. But if it's a bad day and someone's observing it and it's conflicting in the kids, then you can correct it right away. So yep.
You mentioned looping, and that was something that I didn't come to great terms with when it first was given the idea, but I'm actually really grateful for looping. It was something that I guess you could say was hard, but it was actually very necessary for me to grow as a teacher. And so I don't think that some of the things we do at work are necessarily hard. I really think about it like, you know, sometimes the lives of our kids are hard. And so, you know, what I do every day is nothing, you know, compares to nothing that some of them go through. And so just being the best teacher that I can be, it kind of outweighs the things that I do at work, whether we call it hard or not. And so, you know, I think just what's hard is getting kids to come to school and enjoy what they're doing and love what they're doing. And so it's great to hear that kids, you know, come to school and they love their teachers and they love Wahitas, because to me, that's probably the hardest part, is just giving them the best experience just to set them up for success, because that's what's most important. That's why we're here.
All right, so for me, there's a couple things that are kind of, I don't know if they're hard, but I mean, as a person in general, it's really tough to work somewhere where the bar is super high every single day. I started at Wahitas when Pete was there, and I think that's kind of when it started. And that bar every single year continues to go higher for us. And there's not a day where I could kind of tell myself where I'm just gonna relax today. Like I'm just gonna come to school and maybe throw a couple worksheets out and just kick back, because I know that every single person behind me isn't doing that. So if I do that, I know that they're gonna hold me accountable at some point during the day and ask me, hey Sonny, how'd the lesson go? Hey Sonny, how'd you do? Or I might get a random show up from one of these two guys who are in my classroom 2 to 3 times a week, which at times can be tough, but I love the accountability. And I think the unity that's at our school has kind of allowed for that to kind of be easy. But I mean, if I were to stand here and tell you that everything's amazing every single day at Wahitas Elementary, I'd be lying. Because the second thing that I think is really tough is when we've had some of these collaborations, some of the conversations between, you know, teachers in different grades is really hard to ask certain things without ruffling feathers. Because everybody has their own ways that they do things, and most of us think that we're doing everything great. But kind of like you said, Chris, every single day we want to learn, and we want to get better. So we could learn from each person every single day. But sometimes those conversations during the PLCs are very hard, Pete. So for me, those are a couple things that are tough. And we started the math one this year, and I remember telling myself when we started this is, watch your tone. Make sure you're nice and don't say anything dumb. So at each one of these PLCs when we get together, that's kind of what I'm telling myself. And I think most teachers are telling themselves that because we don't want to ruffle anybody up, especially on a Monday morning. It's like to start the week is usually when we have it. But for me, those are kind of the two things that are kind of tough. Is the bar is set pretty high at Wahitas, and sometimes those teacher conversations are tough to have within each other.
Well, you answered the second question, because I was going to ask you all, like, well, what supports do you need? And so you answered them as you were giving those examples. But I think what you shared tonight, the interesting thing about things like collective teacher efficacy, it's hard to like tell someone what it is. And so you have to listen for the stories that people are telling you. And when you get behind closed doors with administrators, maybe this is not a secret to teachers, you're like, hey, we're about to go say this and they're going to hate it. They're not going to like what we're about to say. But if it's in the interest of serving students and it has to be said, and you have groups of people who are willing to hear that and say, I didn't really like that, but here's what we're going to do next because the kids need us to be at our best each and every day to really compete like that. So I guess my question is about sort of honoring your work, but also letting people know that it's pretty damn hard. And to thank you for the work that you do every day and for bringing your best every day for our kids, because they certainly deserve it. So thanks for your presentation tonight.
Thank you. Mr. Zuniga, would you like to know the football score?
I was just about to check it right now.
Okay. It's 26-18. Yeah.
Do we have any public comment tonight?
No.
Okay, seeing none, we'll go on to upcoming events. this Wednesday is the Skill Source Open House at their building on First Avenue. Everybody's welcome to it. It will also be a catered event that night too, so they'll have refreshments and stuff there by a local caterer here.
That's at 4 o'clock?
Yes, it starts at 4. I believe from 4 to 7. Of course, on the following day, we have the taco treat at the high school. Next board meeting will be November 4th. No, excuse me, the site visit at Scootney Springs will be November 4th at 8 a.m. Then, of course, the 11th is Veterans Day, so our next meeting will be on the 12th. And then the WASDA School Board Conference in Spokane, November 21st to the 23rd. Followed by a school board meeting on the 25th. And then something that's also always nice to attend is the DOHS Thanksgiving Community Luncheon. And that's on November 27th. Starting at 11:30. Is there any other things to add to that calendar? Okay, it's a very busy one coming up.
On the 12th, me and Sebastian have our NHS induction night, so we won't be able to be here.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations.
And then we will go on to the board's self-assessment of the meeting.
Excellent presentation by the school counselors, very informative. Loved learning about all the partnerships with CBHA that have, I mean, it used to be so small and it's grown into such a great thing for the district, for our kids.
I do have a clarification on that presentation.
Okay.
So the partnership with CBHA was through a Healthy Grant. And so I believe CBHA wrote the grant. We were the partnering entity. And so all of those services are covered by that grant.
I thought so.
Any kid.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
And how long does that grant last?
I thought it was a 3-year grant, thinking back now.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's
That
about
sounds right.
building a sustainable model that we can then use and then begin to build families. So, yeah, they're all covered.
Oh, good.
Always appreciate a school presentation. Wahidas knocked it out of the park. So, love that. Really well-planned agenda.
Said it would always be nice to have a full board.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's a
We're missing one tonight.
delta.
But we also know circumstances and happen too, so. Anything else to add to the assessment?
Nope.
Okay. With that, we will go on to executive session. The board will recess into executive session for 90 minutes to discuss the sale or lease of land and the performance of a public employee. No action will be taken following the executive session. We'll meet back in Pete's office in just a few minutes. And thank you.